hoping to see from SCOPA? What is your first order of business?
Look, the first order of business is actually to organize the work of the committee together with the parliamentary staff as well as the other committee members from all the political parties so that we can deal with all legacy issues that were outstanding when the last parliamentary term ended, and then to take up new work. That includes meeting bodies like the Auditor General, whom I will be meeting in the next week or two, the previous chairperson of SCOPA, as well as a few other bodies that are very helpful to the work of SCOPA. And then we can set an agenda forward for the year and for the term.
Right, the Auditor General, that's going to be a very interesting meeting. And I say this because I take it from the new Public Works Minister, Dean McPherson, who basically, they've uncovered this 300 million rand cyber attack thing that's happened, and it's been happening over 10 years. Are you anticipating, if you do sit down with the AG, that you are going to find some ghosts, you're going to find some problems?
Look, Ray, there are always ghosts in South Africa. Unfortunately, I wish it was not so, but there are always ghosts. So, firstly, it is to deal with the misuse of public funds. It is to deal with the theft of public funds, maladministration, and so on. But also, Stephen, it is also, Ray, it is also to work with the executive to build a culture of very diligent and careful use of public money. My view is that in years to come, and I may not even be on SCOPA anymore, SCOPA should be the most boring committee in Parliament because government performs so well and nobody wants to cover it.
Look, that is the idea. It certainly is. But unfortunately, we do live in a world where that hasn't been the case. I mean, where will you be concentrating your work on? I mean, in the past, we've seen SAA. We've seen all sorts of things. We've seen state capture. I mean, where do you even begin?
No, I can't really identify institution that it has not even been 24 hours for a group of institutions, but I can talk about certain trends. I think a mismanagement of funds is a much, much bigger issue than people give credit for. So the money is not stolen, but the purpose for which it was used was not good enough. The outcomes were not there, even though people may have crossed the T's and dotted the I's at the beginning. But the management of that investment, of that public investment, has been really poor. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to work on remedial actions. We need to start seeing public institutions and officials coming to SCOPA and say, you berated us a year ago. Here's where we are. We've done the work. These are the outcomes. And if the Auditor General confirms, for instance, we need to give those people credit so that the South Africans can see that sometimes things go wrong, and if people do right, SCOPA recognizes them. When things go wrong, people get into very serious trouble at the same time.
Yeah. Do the municipalities come into this at all? Because it's a bit of a horror story when you're looking at the accounts of various municipalities.
No. Mayors and the like don't come and account at SCOPA, but there is a bigger discussion to be had, I think, just in terms of South African legislation about the quality of the oversight that happens at municipal level. In my observation, I don't think that oversight in fact, the very deployment of public resources, I don't think that it is good enough, and it has put South Africans in a really difficult position, and we need all three spheres of government to fire on all cylinders and use the money well.
Yeah. So, Songezo, what is the feeling in the government of national unity when it comes to expenditure? Are your colleagues saying, let's rethink of how we spend our money? Let's be clever about this. What's the general consensus?
Ray, we obviously not in cabinet. That is Rise Mzansi specifically. We only serve Parliament. I can tell you that among the MPs that I have interacted with, there is a very strong sense, and they're from all political parties, including the government of national unity. There is a strong sense that something has got to change. This is a crossroads for South Africa, and if we do not make the right turn, two things will happen. South Africans will suffer even more. And secondly, for all the political parties, if we don't do the work as we have been mandated by the Constitution, South Africans will be very unhappy and continue to punish political parties at the polls.
Yeah. The EFF didn't support your appointment. Does it matter?
No, look, a couple of things. I think there is a misunderstanding of what happened yesterday, not just in relation to the EFF, but other political parties. Because no alternative candidate was put forward, political parties had an opportunity to say whether they object or not. The EFF said they object. They don't think there's something wrong with me as a person, but they think on a principle that the chair of SCOPA should come from a political party that is not involved in the GNU at all, even if it's not in the executive. And I understand that feeling because Rise in Mzansi ourselves, when we had to elect a speaker, even though Honorable Didiza is a fantastic speaker, we actually voted for the EFF candidate who happens to be Honorable Mwende, who raised a principle. So it's fine. It really is fine. MK, for instance, MK party did not raise an objection at all, and they were in the meeting, and they've got 2 members.
Yeah. And then talking about Rise Mzansi, you must be quite happy. You must be quite chuffed about the way things have turned out, because after the election, you are now in the middle of Parliament. Things have been mission accomplished, I would think.
Well, yes, we are really happy, actually, specifically to be playing a meaningful role in helping to shape the future and make sure that the lives of South Africans are a little better than they've been in the past. In Gauteng, our chairperson, Vuiso Ramokgopa, is an MEC for agriculture, and as you know, we campaigned on ending hunger. So there's an opportunity to prove that what we said we would do, we will do it. And in Parliament, we always wanted to play a significant role in Parliament, and this is it. So from that perspective, we're happy. Now we must do the work.
Yeah, speaking about doing that work, but how effective do you think SCOPA has been in the past in stopping corruption, in keeping an eye on the books?
Look, I don't want to pass judgment on previous, SCOPAs, because I need to get into the seat and do a better job myself. And maybe, Ray, if we speak in a year or two, and I can see that I've done a better job together with the other members, I can comment. My job is to work very hard and show that the work that SCOPA does delivers results for South Africans.
Yeah, Songezo Zibi, thank you so much, SCOPA chairperson.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions,
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.